Often we want our ribbing to pull in and hug the wrist or hug the waist as a hem, but there are occasions when we would like it to stop rolling but not do any pulling in. A tunic is that kind of occasion, and I'm going to show you how to make that happen using a new sweater design as an example. My researches did not show up a proper name for this kind of ribbing, so I will name it tunic ribbing for the sake of having something to call it. Today I'm knitting the tunic hem as a final step, but the kind of ribbing that I'm going to show you can be knitted at the beginning or at the end. Since I have already knitted the entire body piece, front or back is what you're looking at, I hung the cast on with the wrong side of the fabric in view, one cast on stitch on every working needle. I'm using a combination of weights that came with my LK100 and some handmade ones that are found in my Cheap Tricks and Cool Tools book. If you did not have this kind of weights, you could still do it. You will need to start in waste yarn and hang your weighted comb, the river comb, in the waste yarn so as not to damage the fabric. Then you can knit a ravel cord row, hang your actual sweater, and begin just as I'm going to do. But I'm not going to need the river comb because I have these. With everything hung and weighted, using the normal sinker plate at main garment stitch size, knit one row. Now, there will be no transferring of stitches as there normally would. Instead, we are going to rack to make sure that the needles will pass each other, even though all of the needles are in work on the main bed. Select the first needle on the river that is just inside the edge of the work on the main bed. Since I'm at the left, it should be slightly to the right, and then count over and place every third needle thereafter in work. It's a good idea to double check that your needles are passing before knitting. There's no need to cast on the river stitches. They will automatically pick up loops and begin to knit. At garment stitch size on the main bed, and usually garment stitch size on the river, at least on my machines, knit the number of rows that you want for the hem. It's a good idea to work slowly because this is a little bit more challenging for the river than what its normal job is. When you've knitted all the rows needed for the hem, transfer all river stitches to the main bed and bind off. You may notice as I transfer, I'm needing to flick the latches to get them out of the way. That's because I have a minimal amount of weight on the river stitches, and so they're not automatically being opened and shut by the action of moving them upward through the stitch. But it's no problem, and it's my preference so as not to damage the knitting that I hung on the machine. The bind off will fall at the very bottom of the hem, thus it will be very visible, so use one that you like and can do neatly, and I like binding off around the gate pegs. As of this photo, the garment has not been steamed or washed or blocked. This is the tunic rib right off the machine, and it already looks great.